What's a great career path that kids in college aren't aware exists? Software tester. I've been in the field for 24 years and no one has ever entered it with the intention of becoming a tester. Mostly you're doing something else in a tech company, development, tech writing, tech support, sales, customer service, etc. And at some point you're asked to help test. If you have the right personality, you like breaking things, creating order out of chaos, making products better, have OCD tendencies, and are just enough on the strict side, you'll fall in love with it. Software testing cannot be taught in industrial style education centers. It is a contextual job, and you need to be flexible and able to adapt depending on the software projects you're working on. After a few years of experience, or less if you're being contracted out and trained by someone like myself, you can make the same amount or more as programmers. It is incredibly rewarding and very much in demand. I have a difficult time finding testers. Currently, I run a testing company that tests for software companies remotely and offers a very customized testing solution. It gives my family the freedom to travel and work from anywhere with high speed internet. We've been on the road for 2.5 years, living all over Europe, taking 2 RV road trips around the US and Hawaii and Costa Rica, and more to come. Digital nomads are becoming more and more prevalent bloggers, tech writers, programmers, etc. The freedom of not being locked down by a mortgage is huge. Sadly, I have a very difficult time finding testers to work with us. The opportunity is significant, but I can find more clients than testers. Also, vibration analyst. Got a knack for mechanical things? Can you picture how a machine is put together and how it works in your mind's eye, or are you willing to learn? A week-long course with an exam at the end, 3 to 4 levels of certification, and you too could be a vibration analyst with no other education. What you do physically is put a magnet on a machine close to where the bearing would be, hit a button, wait, pick up the magnet, and move it to the next bearing, repeat. What you do mentally is use software to put those vibration measurements through a fast Fourier transform. No, you don't need to know how it works, but it could help if you did. The FFT lets you see all the discrete frequencies generated by all the different components in the machine. You match those frequencies to the charts they gave you during your training, and you get to tell people, this component right here is going to break. You have about 2 weeks to get it out of there before that happens. Companies often produce the same thing as their competitors with the same equipment. When it comes to mining, pulp and paper, etc., they're almost the exact same process and equipment. The machines cost billions of dollars, and when they're not running, you're not making your product. So not only are you spending tons of money on fixing them, but you're also losing tons of money by not making your end product, whether that be paper, oil, French fries, or anything else. You look at the symptoms and make a diagnosis, and you're basically a doctor, but for machinery, and companies will pay a ton of money for you to do it, over $100K if you're in the oil sands of Canada, over $200K if you're in the mines of Western Australia, or over $500K if you're in Saudi Arabia. The catch is you're in dirty environments to get those measurements. Sometimes blazing hot paper machines, sometimes freezing cold, minus 40 degrees Celsius in northern Alberta in the winter. Sometimes there are toxic materials nearby, SO2 gas in mining, and a lot of other stuff, silica and carcinogens. Sometimes you're lucky and you're in a food processing factory and life is grand with your own office. As with everything, experience is key here, but once you have a year or two of it, the job offers roll in. I may be slightly biased, but I have a degree in mechanical engineering to back it up. But I have a cousin who asked me to help him out, and he has a degree in geography. He now does vibration analysis in the oil sands and makes over $90K a year after doing the job for 1 year. When I went to school, I never knew this existed. Most people who do it are millwrights who got injured and can't lift stuff anymore. Their company reassigns them to light duty work and then sends them off for a course like this. Plus, you can basically offer anything as a service online. I know it's cheesy, but what's your passion? Figure out a way to offer that online. Knowledge is a commodity, and the global market wants to hear about what you have deep knowledge about. Alright, so software testing sounds like something right up my alley. Not so sure about the vibration one though, but as the OP pointed out, anything's possible. I'm feeling I'm gonna have to start taking some notes on the rest of these stories. There's gold here, I tell ya. Gold. So let's go get some. Story 2. I can't stress it enough, you don't need years of college to get a damn good job in most computer fields. Before you decide to pursue this path, you need to realize that school should always be an option. I don't know your circumstances for not being able to attend school, but If you want to hit the ground running, you need to be prepared to be in school. Always be in some kind of school. IT doesn't necessarily require a degree, but it does require certifications. Those certifications can be self studied if you have the discipline, and if you don't, you need to be a community college lifer and always be taking at least one class a semester if you are interested in getting your foot in the door. Start with the very basics: A plus, N plus, and S plus if you have time. These look great on an entry level resume and are things I used to look for when hiring new help desk employees. When you get into an entry level help desk position, take on all the side tasks they offer. This is usually easier at a smaller company, as there isn't as much of a hard definition of jobs when you work for a mom and pop place. If they don't offer any side jobs you can do, find someone who needs some minor tasks done that they don't want to deal with and offer to do them. Inventory the servers? Do it. Be a backup exchange admin? Raise your hand for that. They don't have anyone to administer the ticketing system? Make that job yours. Take any opportunity you can within a company to show that you are hungry and interested in moving up. After A plus and N plus, you will have a decent and very basic understanding of how the bigger picture systems work outside of desktops. At this point, I would suggest doing one of two or both if you are motivated things. Take a Windows 7 or 8 certification class or start learning about Linux. This is where you need to start deciding what you want to specialize in after about 2 years of help desk experience. Getting exposed to these areas will be beneficial, and knowing more about either of them is not a bad thing. From there, it's really a matter of what you enjoy doing. If you still don't know what to do, I would suggest getting a couple of junker boxes and start working towards your MCSA Windows and or RHCSA Linux. You might even decide you like routers and switches more and work towards your CCENT. Or maybe codecademy.com has really interested you, in which case you should start working towards that. The only limiting factor is what you find that interests you, but note that it won't find you. You have to go explore. I've seen more than a few companies with help desk employees who are 50 plus and stuck for life because it's barely what they know how to do, as opposed to what they want to do. Help desk is a melting pot of people who are hungry and on their way up, and people who have been burned out and are on their way down. Just don't stop moving, or your complacency will have you bound. Also, working from home once a week or more is nice. Story 3. The U.S. Foreign Service consists of people who staff U.S. embassies and consulates overseas. Generally, getting in as a generalist, consular officer, political officer, etc., the general embassy administration jobs, does not require much prior experience. While I don't think a degree is required, it certainly helps. And the degree does not need to be in a related field. Once you're in, you get to spend time traveling to different assignments representing America. In addition, the pay isn't bad. There's a lot of room to advance and you get government benefits. If you opt to go somewhere less developed or dangerous, you'll also see a corresponding pay increase. The downside, you need to take the Foreign Service Officer test, which covers such a broad knowledge base that it is almost impossible to study for. It is effectively a test to ensure that you would be a good representative of America. So questions range from geography, history, and politics all the way to pop culture. Passing rates are based on demand and fluctuate, with more desirable career tracks having much lower pass rates. You also need to get a security clearance, which some people might have difficulty with, so keep that in mind. Additionally, once inside, it is notoriously difficult to change tracks. Consider what you want to do carefully before committing to it, because you should not plan on moving around once you get there. Lastly, you can't go dreaming of going to awesome places. It can be quite political, and good assignments will typically go to more senior people. Similarly, if you manage to land a good assignment, expect to pay for it on your next one. If you don't mind where you go or actually want to go to less desirable locations, it can put you on a fast track to a high-level position or an ambassadorship. In the end, though, it's a job with decent travel opportunities and interesting work. Like most jobs, you will get out of it however much you put into it. Story 4. Court stenographer. It's a 3-year program. On average, it took me 4 to finish. But if you're proficient in grammar, have strong language skills, possess solid finger dexterity from playing an instrument or video games, and are able to work independently, it's an incredible career. You work from home most of the time. Lawyers very rarely schedule depositions before 10 a.m. You can make your own schedule, and the pay is great. Your pay reflects how hard you want to work and the jobs you're getting. I made $65K my first year and nearly $80K my second. I then took a hiatus and decided I wanted to travel. I've been traveling the world for a year, but I plan to go back to stenography when I return to the States. I'm going to expound a little bit more on our functions. I would say a more accurate description is that of an officer of the court. I'm required to be a notary public for a few reasons. One is that I swear the witness in. It's a minor yet very important function of my job. We also insert exhibits into the record. For example, when a lawyer wants to discuss a particular document or picture, he or she will hand it to me to be inserted into the record. I will give it a number or letter, a small description, and a corresponding little blurb on the record. Finally, we are the keepers of the records and we monitor everything that happens in a deposition, from when it starts to break and how long they took, to people entering and exiting, to going off the record for a conference, and all this needs to be inserted into the final transcript that I certify is 100% correct and can and will hold up in a court of law. It might not sound like it, but it is an integral part of the judicial system. I did not know this was mostly a work from home gig, so today I learned, yeah. I always thought you physically had to be there in court, like right next to the judge, but considering there are AI agents in the works now for this, I'm kind of wary about how long this profession might actually last, like telephone operators, etc. Story 5. Not so much advice on career paths, but on college. There's no good or bad degree. You can excel in a junk degree with the intention of going to graduate school, and you can do poorly in a STEM degree and still get a job right out of college. However, there is such a thing as a poorly planned degree. Ask yourself what you intend to do with your degree and go from there. There's no more open summers anymore when you're in college. During the summer, you need to stay busy. Ideally, you'll take summer courses. The summer courses on campus are great. Often, it's the 3 best months of the year and there's about 1/10 of the student population. So long as you're not taking ultra condensed courses, my university offered classes that were normally 10 weeks plus finals into 4 weeks, it's laid back too. Otherwise, you're doing internships, ones that are related to your interests and prospective career path. Of my circle of friends, the guy who got a job first out of college working the business side of the video game industry was the one who had an internship every single summer, and he was landing them with the likes of EA and Activision. He almost never had a free weekend during the school year and was basically nose deep in a book the rest of it. You can spend 6 to 9 months of your college experience spending maybe 20, 30, or 40 hours a week on an internship, or you can spend, on average, a year after college waiting for your first real job. Internship experience is worth its weight in gold, and the only reason to not pursue it or take summer courses, preferably both, is if it's not financially in the cards. Those of us in the US who are interested in college should be doing things from a very early age, freshman in high school basically, to ensure that doesn't happen. Take your grades seriously. The tuition money you save on merit scholarships is worth its weight in gold too. Story 6. I'm taking a rather unconventional approach myself this year and doing 52 different jobs in 52 weeks. I give the wages to charity. It certainly taught me a lot about job hunting and how to try to get a foot in the door, even for a week. I'm only 28 jobs in and feel I'll hopefully have some worthy insights into lots of careers and paths by the end of this. I gave a cool guy on here some advice recently that he seemed to like. He said he dropped out of college but dreamed of being a music producer and didn't know what to do. In my experience, people who work in music don't usually do so by accident. They're passionate about it and therefore, hopefully, more likely to share their knowledge and experience. I recommend calling up any local producers he could find and instead of asking for a job directly like so many do, just talking to them and seeing if they'll share what they do briefly on a day-to-day basis. Being genuinely interested in others goes a long way, and you never know where it might lead once you start talking. I ended up being a stuntman for a week the same way. We spoke for over an hour on the first phone call, and a few weeks later, he was roughing me up. Success. I'm hoping to hear it works out for him too. Less common careers amongst people I know that I'll be trying out include blacksmith, beef farmer, sewage worker, air steward, morgue attendant, copywriter, and festival organizer. They all seem pretty sweet, well, most of them, and pay well enough. Okay, 52 jobs in 52 weeks with the wages going to charity. Well, at the very least, talk about making a difference while exploring different career paths. Hitting 2 birds with 1 stone, right? Speaking of which, while we're taking a few seconds here, you might as well hit those like and subscribe buttons too and keep up with the daily uploads. Story 7. Firefighter. It may not be the best paying job ever, but it is a hell of a lot of fun with many benefits. For one, you might as well cancel your gym membership because most departments have a lot of gym equipment already. I was lucky enough to be in a department near a state run training center with a top of the line gym and pool. I can't speak for all states and how they operate, but in our state, we have a great retirement fund set up for us if you're willing to pay a little per month towards it. You get to help your community, and sometimes that is an amazing feeling. Riding in a big red fire truck is a perk in itself. Going on an emergency call is a big adrenaline rush. Play a radio while you're doing that, and you have one hell of a fun time, and you learn great life saving skills. It's hard to speak about all of them right here, but I can say that when I started training to be a firefighter, I was just in it to have a job later and because I liked helping people. Now that I've got my basic certification and am studying for my national, I've realized that this is one of the best decisions of my life. That's so cool. In another life or another timeline, I'd like to imagine myself being a firefighter. I mean, come on, fighter? The name itself already sounds badass, and then you actually get to be one. Story 8. Be an RN. Nursing has a ton of career paths. It gives you a really good job as a base, making good money, and from there you can take it to many places. You can go back to school to be a doctor, a physician assistant, or a nurse practitioner. I'm planning to go back to school to become a certified nurse anesthetist, which is basically the same thing as an anesthesiologist, except with less school and less money. You start at about $140,000 and it goes up from there into the $200,000. If you decide you don't like bedside nursing, you can get into hospital management, HR, or a ton of other hospital jobs. You can do sales for medical device companies. You can go across the country teaching hospital staff how to use new medical equipment. You can get into research if you are young and want to travel. You can be paid to go from hospital to hospital of your choosing in cities of your choosing, working anywhere from 13 weeks or longer per hospital. The way I look at it, there are so many options with nursing that it is close to impossible not to find something in that profession that you will like. Story 9. Mining engineering can be cyclical. There is a bit of a lull in mining activity at my specific resource/location at the moment, but in a good year, things can be white hot. I signed on to a $100,000 salary plus bonus plus benefits straight out of my bachelor's degree at 23 for a job that had me moving across the planet, Canada to Australia. The year I graduated, we finished school in May, and 80% of my graduating class had jobs lined up already, with the remainder finding jobs by the end of July. I was on the higher end for salaries, with most making about $80,000. There are worldwide options, especially if you get educated at a Western university. Mining engineers in the US make a little less, around $65,000, but considering the number of people working for $30,000 on master's degrees in other industries, you can't really complain. You do have to be willing to live in remote areas, though. I got lucky and live in a small town a few hours from a major city, but my next job will probably be in a camp in northern Canada working fly in, fly out, or in Belo Horizonte, Brazil, a city of about 5 million people. Story 10. Physician assistant. I wish I had known about it the first time through college because, honestly, the commitment of 10 years of postgraduate school and the prospect of being stuck in a specialty that I might not like definitely steered me away from medical school. And it doesn't seem to be something that those who aren't already looking heavily into the medical industry are aware of. The short of it is a 2 to 2.5 year post-grad program, and then you're able to work in the industry with a comparatively high level of independence and earn six figures, doing something that results in one feeling as though you're making some sort of difference. It's not an easy way out, of course, but it's so much less commitment than medical school, and with the way medical school costs are going, it's very possible that throughout the entirety of your career, you can out-earn many doctors who don't specialize in a particularly expensive specialty. And this also comes with the ability to change specialties without going back to school. So, think about it. So wait, I get to play doctor, but not have to bleed, sweat, and cry on my way there? Where was this advice when I was in high school? Story 11. Landscaping. There's so much money. I work as a gardener and I contract out any construction work I come by to keep costs down. Ultimately, all I need is my truck, a few good hand tools, and my education. I'm a trained horticulturist. I work for myself and I love what I do. What could be better than being outside on the most beautiful properties of my city with nothing but the birds and my iPod to keep me company? There is a ton of work out there. All you need to do is build yourself a reputation for showing up. Doing good work helps too, but often just showing up is enough. It pays super well. A reputable gardener can easily charge $60 per hour, and if you're good with money, you can take winters off. It does involve getting absolutely dirty and getting over any irrational fears of insects and spiders. Also, it's backbreaking work, but you won't need a gym membership anymore. Story 12. Internal auditing. I'm an accounting major and an IT management minor. Basically, in an internal audit, you look at the risks of a company and analyze whether they are properly controlled. You get to learn a lot about the entire company, and then you can use your knowledge gained about the different departments you audit to launch yourself into executive management. Consider who you would rather run a company, someone who spent their entire career in one area, or someone who knows the entire company and the many risks the company faces. I'm set to graduate in the spring and I'm doing an internship right now. Actually, when companies came and offered my class internships, we did not have to actively search them out, and they are well-paid internships ranging from $18 to $25 an hour. Also, there are lots of opportunities to travel. Alright, so taking a break from hilarious and or scandalous stories, I hope you found something inspirational in this video. There's a perfect career out there for you and I, so don't settle. Let's not settle. So if you need more ideas for a career idea or a change, check out People Who Earn a Good Salary with a Low-Stress Job. What do you do? I won't mind doing the one in story 1 and some of the other stories too, so check them out. I'll see you there, and thank you for watching this one.